Now, you can say what you want to about Jiggly Dick Zelensky, but he did stay in Ukraine a lot. Yes, he was on tour around the world begging for money like a panhandler wearing his little green elf outfit. But there were times that he was in the Ukraine, in Kiev. He wasn't on the front lines, but at least he was in the country. There's something very, very strange going on. The way you would think of Benjamin Netanyahu, and that's not his native, his actual name, but for argument's sake, let's go with Benjamin Netanyahu. The way you would think of him is the coach of a team, or he'd be your commander in chief, if you will, of a team. The commander in chief or the coach is not going to leave while the game is playing and just get in his car and take off, because you would want to keep him there for the purposes of morale, speaking to the people, and literally just being there. A lot of it would be moral support. But it's been days now, and we have not seen or heard from BIBI. So where is he? Now, we're getting reports that the official plane for Benjamin Netanyahu is in Germany. But this came after a devastating attack on his offices. There are rumors that this was an assassination attempt. However, we haven't received any proof of life since this happened. For all we know, he's injured, and he's injured. He's badly injured, and he's seeking medical attention, or he could be just fine. But I just find it mighty weird that in a time of war, he's not speaking to the troops. He's not speaking to the Jewish people. He's not speaking to the allies of the state of Israel. He's just kaput. He's just gone. And I just think that's kind of strange. You know, people are asking, what would Jesus do, right? Or what would you do if there was no more Benjamin Netanyahu? Some people are speculating that there would be peace on earth for at least 15 years. There would be no more conflicts. A lot of people feel that the state of Israel is behind 99.9% of all the conflicts on earth in one way or another. And when you trace back the origin of a lot of these conflicts, it's a weird coincidence that they are. And yes, we've heard that they have that looking glass technology, which is why they're all over the place and they're always ahead of everybody. But if the head of the snake was cut off and there was no more Benjamin Netanyahu, would the U.S. finally be free? Because we're not free anymore. Our sovereignty has been handed over to the Zionists. They control our military. That means they control our money. It's costing us billions per day to shoot down drones that cost $20,000. And we're not really doing a good job, and we're running up. We're actually trying to buy stuff from the Ukraine, even though we gave them all this money. Let's listen to what some of the commentators are saying about Netanyahu's strange absence from the scene. And I'm wondering why more people aren't talking about it. We're going on day 4. In a few hours, it'll be day 4 since we've heard or seen Netanyahu alive.
Who has officially fled to Germany. I mean, Germany, of all places. The jokes write themselves. The official Israeli state aircraft landed in Berlin, Germany at 8:30 p.m. today after circling Israel for hours, looking for a safe place to land. This flight is often used for the continuity of government during crises, by the way. Consider this jet the Israeli Air Force One. Netanyahu was literally fleeing Israel amidst retaliatory attacks from Iran. He could not handle it. The plane was stuck circling over Israeli coastal airspace for several hours before finally leaving Israeli airspace to try to seek refuge in Europe. The jet was seen circling over Greece, and it is alleged that they were refused entry in Cyprus. While the West is sending their children to die in a war that they have absolutely no involvement in, the leader of Israel has fled the country, and to Germany, no less. How about that?
It's funny. Jews heading to Germany for salvation. It's kind of ironic. Like she said, the jokes write themselves. Well, let's take a listen.
A missile claim, an assassination insinuation, and a social media storm. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has announced that it struck the office of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
Now, they said they struck his offices, but they haven't been able, obviously they don't have anyone on the ground, so we're in the fog of war. They can't confirm if Netanyahu was killed or injured, but they did for sure hit his offices. And what if he just happened to be there? I know one thing. I know for sure his son and his wife are in Miami, but he's not there. We haven't seen him since the strike, and he's not doing any media to kind of give further reassurance to the Israeli people. Because remember, he's doing all this so he can stay out of jail. As soon as the war and the conflicts are all over, he's going to prison for corruption. I mean, Israel has a history of locking up his politicians, but as long as there's conflict, he's able to stay out of prison. But now he's magically gone from the scene. And we're just wondering when he's going to pop back up and what's he going to say. But it's just weird. Why aren't you talking to your people every single? We've seen Trump every day, but not just Trump. We see the staff. We see, we see fucking Hegseth. We see Rubio. We see the Pam Bond. We see everybody every single day. That's what transparency looks like. That's what leadership looks like. But why? But we're supposed to be fighting this war with Israel against Iran, right? So where's Iran's leader? Where's their great leader? Where's Benjamin Netanyahu? Where's BIBI? Such a weird situation.
During what it called the 10th wave of attacks, it went further, suggesting Netanyahu's fate was uncertain. Within hours, confusion swept online platforms, with some users questioning his whereabouts. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps claimed that during its 10th wave of missile strikes, it targeted the office of the Israeli Prime Minister.
Let me guess, you think Israel and the United States are the only ones that have spies. You think these are the only two countries with money. You don't think another country has enough money to pay someone around you who wants to be you to tell them where you are and when you are there. You thought it was a one-way street. You thought they stopped making weapons after they made yours. No one else has them. No one else has any money. No one else can afford spies. No one else has people plotting on them the way you have people plotting on their leadership. You thought you were special. You thought you were the only one. So if the Iranians have spies in Israel who detest Netanyahu, many people do, and they are giving them up-to-date information on where you are, even if you're moving around between bunkers and you're pretty inconspicuous, if there's somebody who can tell them where you're going to be, and it's with some accuracy, they could hit you if you're only there for 5 minutes. All it takes is time for the rockets to land. And what if a spy told the Iranians where BIBI was going to be and say he's injured? Because the only hospitals, there's other places Netanyahu could have went besides Germany. But Germany is where you're going to have the closest sophisticated American grade hospitals. You're going to find those in Ramstein. You're going to find them in Kaiserslautern because that's where the American military bases are. They said he tried to go to Cyprus. They declined him to go there. But there's other countries he could have went to. That's where Germany's where you go for medical attention. I only know this because the American soldiers that were injured in Afghanistan, they were not allowed to go for surgery 30 minutes away in Tel Aviv. You had to fly them 8 hours away to Ramstein because the Israelis wouldn't let American military come there for treatment. That's how I know about Germany. Also, I used to live in Germany. I'm pretty much German, so I understand the quality of cares and hospitals we have there. That's our main evacuation point for our soldiers that are injured. That's why I said, what if Netanyahu's just, maybe he's injured or maybe he's sick or something? I'm not going to say he's dead because he could pop up on TV tomorrow. People are like, oh, Rico, you said. I'm not saying that. I said it's just weird that the commander in chief, the coach, is missing from the game. Third quarter, you're down by 6. You got free throws coming up, and then your coach just disappears and doesn't say anything, just walks away, just leaves the team on the field. There's the coach, the main inspiration, the figurehead of your team. He's your coach, your mascot, the team captain, the owner, and he just bugs out. It just seems very weird and very inconvenient. That's all I'm saying.
In a statement released by IRGC Public Relations, the group said the office of the criminal Israeli PM, Netanyahu, and the location of the Israeli Air Force commander were struck in targeted and surprise attacks using K-bar Shakan ballistic missiles. The IRGC added that the 10th wave focused on Israel's government complex and that further details would be announced later. Most dramatically, the statement assessed that Netanyahu's fate was uncertain. That line triggered immediate speculation online. Within minutes of the IRGC claim, social media platforms were flooded with posts asking, "Where is Netanyahu?" Some users alleged that Israel had sent its president to Beit Shemesh instead of allowing Netanyahu's planned visit, fueling speculation of a possible security threat. But the narrative gained traction because it followed the IRGC's public suggestion of a possible strike on the Prime Minister's office. In high-intensity conflicts, information gaps are quickly filled by viral claims. Amid the storm, Prime Minister Netanyahu appeared publicly on Monday. He visited a site hit by an Iranian missile a day earlier, a strike that killed 9 people. Standing at the location, Netanyahu drew a sharp contrast between Israel and Tehran.
This is the 3rd day of the Operation Roaring Lion, the operation the Israeli army in the state of...
By the way, this is the last time anyone's seen or heard from him alive. This was on the 2nd of March. Right now, we are on the 6th of March. 4 days.
Israel set out to, with our great friends, the United States of America and President Trump, to thwart existential threats to Israel and great threats to America and the entire world. When I stand here in a place that was bombarded by the terrorists in Tehran against innocent civilians, you see the difference. The tyrants of Tehran target civilians. We target the tyrants of Tehran to protect civilians. I've said for many years,
those little girls that were killed in Tehran, pretty sure they weren't tyrants.
That they threaten not only Israel, not only America. They chant death to Israel, death to America. That's their ultimate target. But I said that they would also target those in...
Yeah, the question is, why are they screaming that? I wonder.
Between, that they would target Europe. They did. And if this regime, this terrorist regime of the kind we've never seen in the world, if they get nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them, ballistic missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles, they will threaten all of humanity. So we set out...
I remember he said the same thing about Saddam, Bashir al-Assad, Gaddafi, Snowden. Who hasn't? Bin Laden. I wonder the better question is, who hasn't Netanyahu accused of trying to get interballistic missiles to attack the U.S.? And why would you care? You're Israel. Why don't you worry about the missiles that can attack Israel? You're throwing America in there is because you want us to do your dirty work. You don't want to handle your own candle. And unfortunately, it's been working, but it doesn't work on the people. It just works on our officials. And that's how we know which officials to no longer support.
To protect ourselves. but in so doing, we protect many others. And I want to say special thanks to our great friend and a great leader of the world, Donald Trump, for joining us in this crucial effort to save the world.
Blah, blah, blah.
Down over Israel during a fresh Iranian ballistic missile barrage. The glowing streaks, nearly 24 visible in some videos, raised fears that cluster submunitions had been deployed mid-air. While it has not been confirmed whether the falling objects were cluster bomblets or debris from intercepted missiles, the Israeli military has previously acknowledged that Iran has fired ballistic missiles equipped with cluster warheads. According to the Israel Defense Forces, such a missile's warhead splits open while descending at an altitude of roughly 7 kilometers, scattering around 20 smaller explosive submunitions across a radius of nearly 8 kilometers. Each bomblet carries approximately 2.5 kilograms of explosives. Though individually less powerful than a conventional warhead, the system is designed to saturate a wide area, maximizing impact over densely populated zones. Similar munitions were reportedly used during the June 2025 conflict between the two countries. The IDF said there was no change to civilian safety instructions despite the possibility.
You see what I mean? Like all of a sudden, everybody in the IDF is speaking except for Netanyahu. Everybody, people want to see their leader. People want to see the person that brought them into the conflict. People want to see the person that they've been listening to all this time. Not all these no-name nobodies that nobody cares about that are Israeli. We want to see BIBI. Where is BIBI? Show me the BIBI.
That cluster weapons had been launched again. However, the military's international spokesperson, Lieutenant Colonel Nadav Shoshani, accused Iran of deliberately targeting populated civilian areas to cause widespread casualties. He
it's called war.
Described such actions as a war crime and stated that Israel would continue operating in accordance with international law to
There's no laws in war. There's no such thing as a war crime. War is war. War is hell. And the people that are so eager to go into it, if they start to lose, they start to scream and complain. That's not how it works. You look for violence. You should never be, surprised when you find it. Everybody's odds are the same. Your odds of survival when it comes to any conflict, 50-50. You might think you have the upper hand and you'll lose. Never underestimate your enemy. And that seems like what the Americans and the Israelis have done, because Iran is shocking the shit out of the world. And only on the news in the United States are they pretending that this is no big deal. The rest of the world is impressed. I'll be honest, if the rest of the world starts to ask Iran to be their leader, and Iran for guidance, and Iran for tips, because the whole world is only working or dealing with the United States out of fear. All of NATO fears the U.S. We saw that when it came to relations to Greenland. They're scared of us. But what if there was somebody brave enough to fight back the bully? And the other people who are afraid might start to back the person who fought back, instead of just being sidekicks to the bully that they hate and that hates them. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like, it seems like something's missing. Something that they don't want you to know. Something the media is not going to tell you. The mainstream news is not talking about this. Just like all the other stories, I'm usually about 2 or 3 days ahead of everyone. That's why I have an audience. That's why people are talking to me. That's why my shows are doing better. So just keep an eye out for BIBI. Let me know if you see him. But let's start making plans on what we're going to do after BIBI. Once BIBI's no longer a factor, what kind of world do we want to live in? What do we want to see happen if we don't have any more Israel forcing fights and conflicts and causing strife all over the world? If that's done with, what's the next step for the world? Let's start to think about that ahead of time, because as far as we know, BIBI might not survive this whole situation. He might be on his last leg.
here in the middle of Israel, in the middle of Israeli population, innocent people that live here peacefully.
What are cluster munitions? Cluster to detonate. Why use of such weapons has added another dangerous.
Yeah, it's a weird situation. Very weird. And they're actually reporting his death in some places. PBS. They're using an AI now. But
this tense environment bolstered. We speak, Iran's Revolutionary Guard announces it executed a targeted ballistic missile operation against Benjamin Netanyahu's Central Command in Jerusalem. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, has formally claimed credit for sending what they term a meticulously coordinated and sharply accurate ballistic missile straight at the main governmental office of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in central Jerusalem. This came via their authorized outlets, such as SIPA news releases and wider distribution through platforms like Far's news agency. They positioned the effort as an element within an extended chain of counterstrikes, labeling it their 10th phase of missile operations against Israeli positions.
Yeah, this is an AI, but this is what they're reporting in Iran. Now, they're not saying it's 100% guaranteed, but what they are saying is that we purposely struck the governmental and in the offices of Benjamin Netanyahu. Now he's not doing any more public appearances. He's not talking to us online. It won't kill him just to hold the phone up and just speaking to the camera and post a video letting us know he's okay. If he's okay. There's a reason we're not able to reach him. There's a reason we don't know where he's at, and we're going to find out what that reason is. But let's just keep an open mind and let's ask the right questions. Do me a favor, like and subscribe, share the video. The best thing for America is to get out of this war and not get into any more because of Israel. So that's why I am against us going to war. And I want to see Dubai attacked. I want to see Israel attacked because that's what's going to put the pressure on the Americans to fall back. And that's what would be best for us. So do me a favor, like and subscribe, share the video, subscribe to my channel. It boosts me up in the algorithm. I'll be one of the biggest channels if you guys go ahead and subscribe and repost my videos. So thank you, and I'll see you again shortly. Remember, it's America first and America.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.